The last time we left, Guru had unlocked the potential of Tien, Krillin, and Goten, as well as Dende, and though he had refused to grant Vegeta the power-up, he had at least instructed Dende to heal him. Good thing too, as the four of them would have to team up to face the Ginyu Force, who were no doubt tracking them down. They weren't going to risk leaving them to Ginyu's place, so the four of them had set off to meet them halfway. With Tien here, they had an extra person with them, but will that matter against the Ginyu Force? Find out now. The Ginyu Force weren't rushing too much. Frieza still had most of the Dragon Balls, they just needed the last two. They'd run into the group a fair ways from Ginyu's home, stopping in their tracks. Ginyu scanned over the group. Vegeta and three people he didn't know. The boy was clearly of Saiyan origin. There was a man with one hand and three eyes, and then a short bald man. What a ragtag group.
So, you don't have the Dragon Balls with you? Well, that's irritating. Man, deal with them. I'm capable of finding them myself.
With that, Captain Ginyu would blast past the group, heading in the direction of Guru's place. Goten would attempt to chase him, but Vegeta grabbed him.
You need to focus on the task at hand. These four are bad enough. Well, since there's four of us and four of you, how about we take on one each?
Berta would suggest as he rushed behind Tien, hitting him in the back with a spinning kick, sending him to the lake. Vegeta would rush forward, kicking Recoome, sending him back a few feet, mainly because he'd been caught off guard, and really Recoome wasn't taking the fight seriously. Krillin would hit Guldo across the face before going on the offensive, leaving Goten against Jace. That's no fun, leaving me to fight the kid. Jace would easily dodge a punch from Goten before kneeing him in the stomach. Goten would grit his teeth before firing a ki blast towards Jace at point-blank range. It hurt a little bit, but didn't do any damage. Nail would sense Captain Ginyu approaching Guru's place. He could also sense the others fighting in the distance. It would seem one of them has slipped past.
When he arrives, do not resist him, Nail. Even if they obtain the Dragon Balls, they do not know how to use them.
Nail didn't like it, but he'd comply. He wouldn't stand by if the person approaching threatened Guru, but for now he would do as he was told. Though he knew this was really just delaying the issue. Once they did realize they couldn't use the Dragon Balls, they'd just come back. Ginyu would arrive at Guru's home, spotting Nail outside.
Well, hello there, Namekian.
Ginyu would greet him with a friendly facade.
I think you know why I'm here, so hand it over and I'll let you go this once.
Nail would somewhat reluctantly do as asked, tossing him the one-star ball. Ginyu, being a tad more honourable than Frieza, stuck to his word and simply left. He had one, but Frieza still needed one more, and for that one he had no leads. Back at the fight with the Ginyu Force, things weren't going very well. Recoome had gotten bored of toying with Vegeta and now was taking him to pieces. Vegeta was fairly sure most of his ribs were broken and there was a dull throbbing pain in his arm. Krillin and Guldo were more or less even. Krillin was stronger, but Guldo's psychic abilities made it difficult to land a good hit. He'd only need one or two hits to beat him, but getting those was the issue. Tien struggled to his feet. With this bigger power difference, he was struggling to keep up with Berta. He'd stand up straight, holding out his hand, beginning to charge the Tri-Beam, which was difficult to do one-handed. He would close two of his eyes, focusing for a second, and using his third eye to pinpoint Berta's location. Berta was approaching Tien rapidly, preparing to strike, but before he could...
Tri-Beam!
Berta was thrown backwards by the attack, though he recovered quite quickly.
How did you react to that? Thanks for toying with me. You gave me time to focus. I might not be able to beat you, but I can clearly see your movements with my third eye. Glad to hear it. It's no fun if it's not a challenge.
Berta would lunge at Tien again, though this time he found it difficult to hit him. Around this time, Guru would tell Dende to go help them. Good timing, as well, Goten wasn't doing so well. The second in command of the Ginyu Force wasn't really taking Goten seriously, and Goten still couldn't win. Jace would strike Goten across the face with his elbow before grabbing him by his collar. Goten would then bite down on his hand.
Ah, let go!
Jace would attempt to shake the young boy off, but he just bit down harder. Jace would punch Goten repeatedly in the stomach until he opened his mouth, before punching him as hard as he could across the face. That brat had actually bitten him hard enough to draw blood. Goten couldn't get up after that hit. He was alive, but after a full power hit from someone much stronger than him, he wasn't in any condition to fight. Jace watched the ship arrive, but decided he'd deal with Goten before whoever that was could come to help. He'd raise a hand preparing the Crusher Ball, but before he could fire, he felt a hand on his wrist. He hadn't even seen the guy approach, but before he could do anything, Goku punched him hard in the stomach, sending him stumbling back, coughing and spluttering.
Jace, what happened to you?
Berta would rush to his ally's aid, seemingly ignoring Tien, which the Triclops wouldn't complain about. The distraction also allowed Krillin to get the upper hand on Guldo, knocking him unconscious with a blow to the back of the neck. Recoome also decided that Goku was the bigger threat at the moment, so Jace, Berta and Recoome would all rush him at once. The three initially overwhelmed him, but he would quickly defeat all three of them with the use of Kaioken. Vegeta would use the distraction to leave, going to find the Dragon Ball he'd thrown in the lake. Unbeknownst to him, Ginyu had been waiting for one of them to make a move, and he followed Vegeta to where he'd hidden the ball. Since Vegeta left, Jace, Guldo, Raccoon, and Berta all live. For now. Ginyu would grab the prince by the throat, beginning to strangle him, though when Vegeta spat in his face, he would lose his temper and knock the prince unconscious, before taking him and the ball to Frieza. When they arrived, Frieza would discover that he didn't know how to use the Dragon Balls, and Ginyu would tell him about the remaining Namekians. Goku would give a senzu bean to Goten. Since Krillin and Tien were both less injured and just one out, he'd split one in half and give them half each, so he had one left in case of emergency. Berta would recover before Jay saw Raccoon and he would take off in the direction of Ginyu, filling Ginyu in on what had happened. So Ginyu decided to leave Berta to guard Vegeta and go fight Goku himself. Goku would tell Goten, Tien, and Krillin to head to Frieza's ship and find the Dragon Balls while he kept Ginyu busy. Though before they left, he'd give them the spare senzu bean, deciding they needed it more than he did. After Goten's Zenkai, he had reached a power level of 95,000, far surpassing Berta. Ginyu vs Goku goes as it does in the original. Ginyu is actually the stronger of the two, but Goku takes the edge with Kaioken, prompting Ginyu to use the body change technique after injuring himself. Nail would sense Frieza approaching, no doubt on his way to ask them how to use the Dragon Balls. "There's another one approaching, sir." Guru would nod. Unfortunately, he had no choice but to let Nail fight this one, though he could tell he had no chance. "I'm sorry, Nail, but buy as much time as you can." "Wait, couldn't you use that potential thing you did to Goten and the others?" Bulma was just spitballing ideas. She didn't know how this worked, really. "Unfortunately, Grand Elder Guru unlocked my potential years ago." "I know this isn't confirmed, but really it's the only thing that makes sense." "I could perhaps unlock your potential," Guru offered. "Oh, I'm not a fighter." "Neither was Dende. He gained the ability to heal. It's not all about fighting." After giving it some thought, Bulma would agree to try it, and as her potential unlocked, she felt something come over her, almost causing her to fall over. It was like all the information in the world was rushing into her head at once. Her strength was not boosted, but her intelligence was. She was already smart, but now she was one of the most intelligent creatures in the universe. In addition to this, she'd also gained the ability to fly. She wasn't much use in a fight though, and soon Frieza would arrive, demanding to know how to use the Dragon Balls. "Well, you won't be able to if you kill this guy, so maybe be a little less careless," Bulma yelled at Frieza after he destroyed the roof. "An interloper from Earth, I take it?" "I'll deal with you after I've dealt with this one." "I'll tell you if you can defeat me," Nail would challenge. "But we won't fight here. I won't have Guru being hurt in the crossfire." After a moment, Frieza would agree to this, allowing Nail to lead the way. Once they were gone, Bulma would set off herself to try and find Goku's ship. Goten, Tien, and Krillin arrived at Frieza's ship, where Goten engaged Berta in a fight, who found he couldn't keep up with the kid. In just 3 blows, Goten broke through Berta's guard, knocked the wind out of him with a knee to the stomach, before hitting him with an uppercut, leaving him unconscious. They'd give the last senzu bean to Vegeta, who decided to kill Berta while he was down. "There was no need for that, he wasn't a threat." Goten protested the prince's actions, but Vegeta didn't seem to care. "In case you haven't noticed, he was trying to kill you." Then Ginyu Goku would arrive, assuming he was strong enough to beat all of them. He is wrong, of course, and quickly finds himself losing to Goten. "This body is supposed to have a power level of 180,000. How am I losing?" He didn't understand how, but it was an undeniable fact he was. Though this Saiyan brat wasn't significantly weaker than who he assumed with his father. "I'll just have to grow into it. Change now!" Goten was rushing towards Ginyu, aiming to headbutt him, so he didn't have time to move out the way. At the last second, Goku would jump in, the one in Ginyu's body, meaning he was back in his original body. Before Ginyu could even get his bearings, he was attacked by Vegeta, who easily overwhelmed him and went to finish the job. As always, when Ginyu tries to change bodies with Vegeta, Goku throws a frog in the way, trapping Ginyu in the body of a frog. But Goku was a bit too injured to be much use in a fight, so Vegeta would suggest taking him to a healing pod. Krillin and Tien didn't need new clothes, but Vegeta and Goten would change into armor before Vegeta decided to go for a nap. Krillin, Tien, and Goten try to use the Dragon Balls without him, but they can't because they can't speak Namekian, but Dende shows up pretty soon to help with that. Guru would telepathically contact Dende, urging him to hurry as he felt himself slipping, also informing him that Bulma had gone to find the ship so they didn't need to stop for her when they left. They would summon the dragon, bringing Piccolo back to life as well as bringing him to Namek, like in the original. And like in the original, Vegeta takes notice of the dragon, but before further wishes can be made, Guru passes away, meaning the Dragon Balls are useless. Not long after that, Frieza would arrive, looking quite furious, and we'll cover how that goes next time. Hope you enjoyed this part. How will Bulma's newfound intelligence impact the story? Will they be able to fend off Frieza without Gohan's hidden potential? Find out next time. Maybe consider subscribing if you want to, or leave a comment and let me know what you think, or let me know what other series you might want to see on the channel. Commenter Obito Uchiha left a suggestion of what if Goku was a Tuffle, which I've got a few ideas for. Another one was what if a Cell Genie survived, but anyway, that's all from me. Have a good day.